I don't know, it's a big nothing burger.
It's fucking drivel. It is absolutely fucking pointless.
It is up there with the Turkey Boys as one of my least favorite things I've ever
Meeting you with a view to a kill. And just like David Fincher, I'm not gonna fucking stop until I get my vision realized. Let's go again.
Take 36.
There'll be 10 minutes where it's like a Steven Soderbergh Ocean's 11 movie. It's all slick and funny and stuff. Then just the most horrific shit imaginable happens.
Because that's what the fucking movie's about, you asshole. Jared Leto, man.
You're the worst, dude. If you ever listen to this, Jared Leto, you are the fucking worst. I'd rather watch that dude, the English dude, who looks like he's not done yet. This movie is the opposite of getting light.
Our entire aim is for the development of our planet.
Same podcast, same guys, new look. Thanks for listening to Tales from the Video Store podcast, sponsored by Golden Ticket Cinemas, The Spot Toys in Newton, Table Rock Creative Group, the pinnacle of video marketing, and Ink Brush Swag, just a cool t-shirt company. Tales from the Video Store, the podcast about the movies you've never heard of, but must see. Now, it's Lee Bridges, Doug Wall, and Garrick Lane. On with the show. Welcome back to the Video Store. It has been a hot minute, but I am here. Yeah, is this the Midnight Drive-In? I am here with Doug Wall and Lee Bridges, and we are back. We have been a little bit on a hiatus this last month. Not really because we wanted to be, just because our schedules haven't coincided. Mostly mine. I'm sorry.
But drones.
But we are back, and we are going to do Halloween in November.
It's happening.
We missed this. Our favorite month is October, and what we do is we review horror movies. And I've looked forward to it for 3 years, and this year we had a lot planned. We had Blacula, we had Halloween Kills, and
we fucked it all up.
We fucked it all up. That's really
we shit the bed 100% on that one.
We 150%, and most of it I have to say is my fault, and I apologize. But we're here.
Without a doubt it is.
When is it not?
Yeah, you're right. When is it not? Well, first and foremost, how has everyone been doing in this little month of?
I don't even remember. I don't even know.
Well, let's start with the most important thing. How is Charlie, Lee?
I mean, kind of waiting to see at this point. You know, he's finished his radiation treatments, and they're sort of waiting to see how that if they worked or not. Because after they do them, you have to wait, you know, for the swelling to go down and everything before they can do a brain scan.
Yeah.
So sort of in a holding pattern at this moment.
Okay, well, great. Well, I donated to this GoFundMe page. We're going to put it up in the show notes. Any of our listeners out there, Lee's soon-to-be father-in-law is getting cancer treatment right now. If you guys want to help out, there's a GoFundMe page. We'll put it up in the show notes. Help out if you can. Every penny counts when it comes to cancer and treatment for such thing.
Absolutely.
So, I guess, I know we're a little late, and I called Lee. I was down in Florida. I called Lee when this Rust stuff happened, because there was just a lot of questions, and I know it's a little late, and they still don't know exactly what happened, and, it's no longer headline news, but I think as a film podcast, we have to speak of this.
Right.
I mean, we just have to speak of it.
Yeah.
I feel like, it's so funny, and I'll say this because I don't really care. I used to be kind of in the middle of the right and the left. Some things that the left thought were, appropriate, I agree with, and then some of the stuff that the rights thought were appropriate.
Where the fuck are you going with this?
Well, I feel so.
This is not a political issue.
It isn't. No, but what I'm saying.
I just wanted to make sure we're wrong.
When Hanya Hutchins was shot, the first thing that everybody said was that Alec Baldwin had, they just frickin' sold him down the river for this accident.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not. I mean, he's like the last. I mean, I would almost say he's the least responsible for what happened. To an extent, am I wrong?
The only thing I disagree with what you said is, and I completely agree, but the one word I would change would be the word accident. Because accident implies that there's no one to blame, that it's just something that happened.
Oh, correct.
If this young lady, who was the armorer, put a live round, first of all, a live round should never be on the film set. Unless there's a police officer on set for security, there should never be a live ammo round.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
And if this young lady loaded it and then, I've heard they were doing target practice before the setup. They were shooting cans and bottles and things. And if she even 100% she grabbed the wrong gun and handed it to Alec Baldwin, that's not an accident. She is 100% to blame for that. And I've always known that the gun should always be checked twice before it's handed to an actor. Like you were talking about people I sent you some screenshots of some people who I was arguing about the day of on Facebook, and just some mental midgets. And I said the actor should not have to check the gun. They can if they want to, but it should always be at least double checked before they're handed to an actor.
They're not going behind the camera and checking the film, right? Like, they're not going around checking the lights. They're not going around double checking that everybody else is doing their job.
Daniel Day-Lewis isn't going to come out of his his method acting and go, "Hey, is this thing double checked? Are we good here before I shoot Leonardo DiCaprio?"
Like you give the guy the whatever it is, it should be 100% ready to go. Right. And it's, as the actor, it's like you just do, that's your time, do your thing, but you have to hope that everybody else's job is getting done, right?
And I agree with all the different arguments coming out, like she was understaffed, and they were pushing, because Lord knows we've been on sets where danger is safety is the last thing on our minds.
Right.
And so, I mean, I've been there, but I think what they're going to find is that some people fucked up, man, and were shooting those fucking guns on breaks. Yeah. And either Hannah was aware of it and screwed up and got her ammo mixed up, or she wasn't, and somebody put ammo in the wrong spot, and it just so happens. It really will, honestly. It will come down to that girl's. It's going to be Hannah Garteras Reed's fault, because a live bullet was placed into that gun.
Right. And
that was her job to make sure that gun was safe.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be her ass.
100%.
Yeah. And, listen, I like shooting guns. It's fun. Like, target practice is very fun. But, I mean, she wasn't on a vacation. She wasn't at home. She was at work. And whatever caused her to go target practicing. And also, the day before, a lot of the crew had walked off. The camera crew had walked off because of the safety conditions. And also, this young lady was fired from a Nicolas Cage movie, the previous project she worked on, because apparently she was shooting live rounds and shot one right next to Nicolas Cage, and he screamed, "She blew my fucking eardrums out," and then she got fired from whatever the movie was. I think it was actually another Western that Nicolas Cage was shooting. And so this isn't just, I mean, listen, with Brandon Lee, the type of blank they used in, it was a piece of wax paper, and like it could get, like the cover of the blank got lodged in there, and then it became a bullet. This was just a live bullet. This isn't, like I said, it isn't an accident. It's not a freak occurrence. It's just gross misconduct.
Yeah.
And, And I got to tell you, I sent this to Garrick. I talked to the stupidest person on the internet. So I was like going through the comments about this. This is the day it happened. And this guy said, fake news, they probably faked her death to promote this movie. And I said, and I commented, I said, they faked this woman's murder? And he said, oh no, they actually probably really did kill her after they faked her death. And I was like, you're the stupidest human being alive. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, yeah.
And
none of it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. That's, yeah, anyway.
It's amazing. There's a store in the mall and called Model Line. And apparently...
What is this mall?
The Valley Hills Mall.
Is it still around?
Yes.
Is it still a thing? Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know.
but hey,
I don't know.
Not for long, because
Yeah,
this store, Model Line, apparently has a really grumpy Indian owner that some girls tend to not like, and that he's just not very polite. So they get on the internet, they get on social media, a fake place where nothing exists but whatever you put on it. I mean, anything that you put on it exists,
Sure.
right? And they start talking about him filming them in the dressing rooms and just calls this big cloud of bullshit. Guess what? He's closing down. I made a comment on Facebook last night. I'm like, that's pretty sad when somebody's well-being, like somebody's freaking job and their reputation and their life is on the line, and it can be completely tarnished by a fake-ass, by 6 or 7 people that don't even know him posting horrible shit about him.
Yeah, that's why I stay off of social media, because I'm too easy to do something stupid.
Yeah.
And so I just remove myself from that whole entire situation.
Yeah.
But going back to this Rust thing, the thing that bothers me the most is imagine, like, try and put yourself in the shoes of Alec Baldwin, who, you know, he's just hanging out, you know, making this movie that I think he had a pretty heavy hand in producing with this other guy writing it. And I mean, dude, you pulled the trick, like, you fucking murdered somebody. I mean, you killed somebody with something that you did, and whether it's his fault or not, man, that's something that he's gonna he's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life, man. I mean, just imagine, like, the guilt that he's gonna suffer through for nothing. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong, you know.
But he watched it like he saw it happen. He'll never be able to unsee that gun going off and her.
And I'm not the biggest Alec Baldwin fan. Don't get me wrong, but I sympathize with him in a very, very heavy-hearted way. Like, that's something, man. That a condition like that, just that whole circumstance, it's disgusting, dude. And I don't really give a shit about this woman or what, like, her excuse. There is no excuse. As far as I'm concerned, the safety of the people on your set is number one. It doesn't matter how great it looks or anything like that. Keeping everybody safe is job one, and whatever the punishment ends up being for her, I think it's justified, and I hope it's severe.
On Twitter, if Ed Zwick, the director of The Last Samurai and Glory, he does these really great lists about movies. Like, it could be him doing about screenwriting or this. It'll be 10 things that either happened to him or someone he knew. And he made a good point that we've talked about content, just how much content there is being made for streaming services and movie theaters and whatever. And he said the need for content has outpaced the ability to make it. He said, and because of that, in situations like Rust, things are falling by the wayside because they need to get these things made to be out on Netflix or Prime or whatever. He said because of that's why these things are happening more. Is because back when it was just movie theaters, you had to work really hard. But now, if you have the money to make a movie and an actor like Alec Baldwin, it'll be shown somewhere.
Oh, sure.
Might be on Prime or Hulu or what, you know. And he's saying that that's what's causing that. And because of this young lady's death, the cinematographer, camera crew have now outpaced stunt people as the highest mortality rate in movie making over the last 10 years. And that's, you know, if your job is somehow now more dangerous than the people who light themselves on fire for a living, then definitely things need to change safety-wise.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And this Gabriel Pickle, the line producer, finds herself in a pickle because she was the one who was bullying the camera crew that was leaving and was in charge of hiring. I mean, basically, she's the cheapo that hired all the cheap people to get this movie made and probably didn't look at credentials. It was probably a referral kind of thing. You know, we've all been there. But yeah, man, just that, like you say, the need to go cheap, fast, and good. You can only choose two. You know, you can't have all three. And I think this is, I hope that practices change. I mean, I really do. And what sucks is when the practices change, probably less content will be made. So, you know, and less avenues for us to make stuff, I guess. You know, they're still, are they and I haven't been following the strike. Did they ended up winning that strike on the meal times and things, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because this all goes to the same thing with, you know, a lot of crew guys were striking for these 16-hour days. They weren't getting their dinners, and they were working 16 hours, and people were dying driving home because they were exhausted. This probably comes into that, where, you know, even if it is her fault, I'm not making excuses for her, but if she's working a 20-hour day and she's the only armorer and she's having to keep up with all that and she's exhausted, her performance isn't going to be as good because they're so, you know.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Just has to change, I think.
It will.
It has to.
It will.
Will they finish this movie or will they declare bankruptcy?
I think it's pretty much, no, I don't think they will.
Yeah. Whatever it was is dead.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not like The Crow, I don't think, where they ended up finishing The Crow.
No, because that movie was 95% finished. You know, and we talked about the effect this is going to have on Alec Baldwin. The actor who played Funboy in The Crow, that pretty much derailed his entire life. You know, like he got very into drugs and very depressed after that, you know, because of the accidental shooting of Brandon Lee. Like, I mean, and he only started acting like the last few years of his life. He got back into acting. He actually died like a year or two ago. But he got, like, you know, yeah. So it's a terrible situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Another terrible situation is that and I know this is old news, but whatever, we can still talk about it. Douchebag of the week, even if it's a month late, it's still Miles Teller, because guess what? The Godfather is still on hold.
Right. Yeah. The TV show. There's actually, what's weird is there's a TV show and a movie about the making of the Godfather being made simultaneously. And Miles Teller. They had some COVID protocols on this, and you either had to have the vaccine or have a weekly test, which is exactly what they do at my job. And he didn't want to take the vaccine, but he also didn't want to take the test. So he showed up on set, infected with COVID, and got the set shut down. What was the total cost of shutting down the set of this
$6 million?
Yeah. Yep. That's ridiculous. And honestly, he's one of those guys, like, you know, there's some actors, you see them and you just like them. You know, like, you just like, I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head, but they have an insane likability. You know, or they just seem cool or whatever. Miles Teller, I'm gonna be honest, he seems like a douche in everything I've seen him in, and apparently he totally is.
Yeah.
He's probably like his real character is probably the Nicholas Riffin. God, I'm lost today. I'm sorry. So hold on. I got to record that. So he's probably like real life. He's probably like too old to die young. He's probably that same dude.
Probably closer to it than we'd like to.
There was a picture on Instagram where him and his girlfriend and Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, were out in Hawaii, probably smoking dope and
having a great old time.
Of course, Aaron Rodgers seems kind of like that.
Nah, it's fucking double check, dude. He's awesome. Come on.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah. I don't know. Nobody knows. They're probably all cocksuckers.
Aaron Rodgers looks like a guy who sells coke in the back of a bowling alley.
But you know what's awesome?
I love him.
Did you see his Halloween costume while he grew out his hair to be John Wick?
He's what?
You gotta go look on Twitter and look up Aaron Rodgers' Halloween costume. He looks just like John Wick. He did it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he said he was growing his hair out for.
Okay.
I think it's awesome, though, real quick, and we're not a sports podcast, but if Aaron Rodgers did what he did over the break and then then held out on The Office and said, fuck you, you've treated me like shit, finally got his deal, and turns around and wins the Super Bowl, it's going to be awesome for that guy. To have done, you know what I mean? Because most guys that do shit like that, they're swept under the rug and whatever. But he came out, he won 7 in a row. He bitched about his rights. He bitched about his money. He bitched about the ungratefulness of Green Bay, and he may be in line for a Super Bowl finally.
No.
No? All right. Maybe Cam Newton.
Maybe.
Great. All right, moving on then. Fuck it. Daniel Harris in the opening Terrifier scene. It's Terrifier 2 scene. Who's going to the movie with me?
I'm busy that day.
Crickets. You hear
No.
the So nobody's going?
No.
Great. All right. Well, all right. Let's see what else we have. More controversy. What is going on with Chappelle? Is this for real? Like, can a comedian not have a...
And also, first of all, I don't remember why anybody gives a shit. Like, and not necessarily I don't care what any celebrity thinks about anything.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I don't care, like, you know, tell me what, like, I mean, I don't know. It's like actors, what they think about, you know, when they tell you, oh, you should vote this way, that way. Even if I agree with them, I don't give a shit what they think.
Yeah, it's fuck off.
It's like you pretend for a living.
Entertain me. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about who you really are.
Yeah. And also these people, a lot of these people who are pretending to be offended, they just, you know, one of the main protesters at the Netflix, when they showed up protesting, they went on her Twitter feed from a few years ago, and she'd made a bunch of racist comments about Asians. So it's just, it doesn't matter. It's just people looking for clout and trying to advance their careers.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle, listen, he's probably the greatest stand-up comedian of all time. You know, I mean, he's, you know, just...
He's fine. He's fine. Yeah. And I heard, it's like, oh man, you know, he's gone over the edge this time. And I was like, oh, let's see what's going on. You know, and I sat down and watched it, and I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
Just being just a little bit disagreeable with what a certain group thinks is like enough to vilify him and like cancel him? Fuck off, dude. And that's basically what he said. He's like, if this is being fucking canceled, it's the best time of my life. Right. Like, I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
Fuck, like, I just, you know, he's a fucking comedian for a living, dude. If you don't, if that doesn't register with somebody, then you have zero sense of humor and you have no business watching comedy in the first place.
And also, jokes aren't real.
Yeah. It's not an opinion.
When a guy tells a joke about,
it's just to be funny.
Right. Yeah, when a guy tells a joke, I got in a fight with my wife, there is no fight. He just thought up a funny scenario and filled it in with, like, there's no real, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just, I don't know.
I just didn't understand the whole, like, get him! Like, I just don't get it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because what it did is, look, I love Dave Chappelle as much as the next guy, but I probably wouldn't have watched that Netflix stand-up because his last one was just okay. But
it's too political.
But it made me want to watch it because I was like, oh, let's see what kind of shit he steps in.
Yeah.
And I was actually a little bit disappointed that I was like, that's it?
Yeah, that's
fucking really? Okay.
But I mean, the fact that he's put out 5 hours in 2 years is ridiculous.
It's a little much.
Some people put out, you know, some people work an hour for 10 years to get an hour.
Yeah.
He just, you know, like, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't, if you don't like it, just change the channel.
Just don't watch it.
It's Dave Chappelle. If you like black comedians, but you don't like the cussing, watch Bill Cosby.
Exactly.
If you like the cussing, you watch Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, because Bill Cosby, There's your great moral.
Yeah, no shit, right?
But don't watch Cosby if you're not a fan of rapists, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't know. How's that work?
Bill Burr comes out on his stand-up, starts talking about white women, and nobody says a fucking thing. Talks about how entitled white women, like dogging them, completely dogging them, and nobody says a word because they're white women.
Yeah, but,
it's like,
but he was also making some good points. But that's
they're all, but everything's a good point. But like Doug said, this isn't an opinion. It's a fucking stand-up.
It's a bit.
Laugh
It's
or
a
don't
bit.
laugh.
Yeah, it's not meant to be. Like when you try and take a bit and make it into more than it was ever meant to be, you've already fucked everything up.
Right.
If you over-analyze anybody's joke, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. Like,
it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, let's get the fuck over that.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. All right,
one more news story. John Woo is doing... I have to see how it is. It sounds awesome, but he is doing not a silent movie. He is doing a dialogue-free action movie.
I'm down.
I am in.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And it might be shit, but I doubt it. I trust his eye. You know, it's going to look good. And if there's no dialogue, then who gives a fuck about the story, really? You know, it's like...
Yeah.
It's probably just going to be a fucking 90-minute shoot 'em up, and I'm cool with that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
I've got one more bit of news.
What you got?
All right, I stumbled on accident, and I'm not real sure because it's so good, but I stumbled on accident to the podcast Talking Sopranos. Now, it's Michael Imperioli and Steve Shreppa, who played Bobby, and Chris. They have a podcast episode for each episode, and they break down all this great behind the scenes stuff and like break down scenes and what David Chase was doing. And anyway, it's fantastic. I love it. But they suckered me into their book, which came today. Woke up this morning and it's got a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff and inside the writer's room, you know, stuff like that for me, I fucking love. But you guys, if any Sopranos fans out there that really want to take a deep dive into all that stuff, you should go over, find Talking Sopranos podcast. It's great. Doug's asleep, so let's get going. What are we doing? All right, so the movie this week.
Which one? Which one do you want to... Which one would you like to get into first?
Let's go into Blacula then.
All right.
Okay.
Fantastic.
You want to introduce this? I mean, does it even need an introduction?
Well, I mean, I guess.
Fucking Blacula. Yeah, yes, it does. It's awesome.
From, what is it, 72 or 73?
73, I think, is when it was released.
It's from whatever the fuck.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I said it's from whatever the fuck.
Right. Okay, yeah, from 1972, excuse me. From 1972, directed by William Crane, starring William Marshall as Blacula. Really the first, I mean, because Shaft, like movies that had just come out like a year prior. So this was a fairly new thing as far as basically making movies just, at that time, just for the black audience.
Yeah.
Or catering to them, not exclusively, but, you know. And it's, you know, he's a black Dracula. He's an African prince who 200 years ago goes to Transylvania to ask Dracula to sign this sort of declaration against the slave trade. And Dracula kills his wife and turns him into a vampire, but then buries him alive. And he's awakened 200 years later in L.A. and just starts wreaking havoc, you know. And it's shot very rudimentary. It kind of looks like a 70s TV show as far as how it's shot and constructed. But, you know, William Marshall is so good. Like, he's, you know, he was a trained Shakespearean actor, and you can definitely tell that in the way he speaks. Mm-hmm. Like, he should be in a much better movie, you know. But, I mean, it's a very entertaining movie. And what do you think, Doug?
Look, it's more of like a landmark for black filmmaking than it really is a great movie. It's like,
right.
I mean,
that was
like this is probably the first like black horror like all black, basically acting, black director, like producers, like all the parts that you know had never. This whole thing was like completely virgin territory, you know, and it really kind of opened up not only stuff that's happening, you know, that happened in the 70s, a lot of other crazy, like, I'm trying to think, man, I don't know why I didn't write these. I had a couple of movies that came from like 73 to like 77 that were kind of in the same kind of vein, where they were all done by, you know, it's like a black-owned production. And, I mean, the movie itself, it's not great, but it was entertaining as shit.
Right.
You
what
know?
I love about
Mama Walda is awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what I love about exploitation movies is they're like time capsules of coolness.
Yeah.
Like this is like 1972 cool.
Yes.
And now if this movie came out in 1978, it probably would have looked corny as shit because it would have been the same year The Exorcist came out. I mean, not The Exorcist, but like Dawn of the Dead and, you know, movies like that. But yeah, it's like a snippet of like early 70s awesomeness.
Yeah.
That's the best way to explain it.
You're going down into these like these black clubs, and you know Mama Walda's in there, and everybody's just kind of doing their shit. It's like you say, it's a piece of history that we would never have been privy to, especially in 1972.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. No. Absolutely.
You know, I remember seeing this movie as a kid, probably mid 80s, and just being like, man, that's cool. That's weird. Because, you know, I had it in my mind for the longest time that, like, Bela Lugosi, that was the only Dracula. And then I was like, oh, what? Christopher Lee? There's this. And you start kind of seeing, like, all these different, I guess, iterations of the same character. And I love this dude's character, man. He's fucking great. And just like in regular Dracula story, I guess, you know, he lost his love and comes back and finds, you know, her again. So ultimately, it's just a love story.
Ultimately, it's just Dracula in Los Angeles, black exploitation with a minimal budget.
Yeah, but I mean, but
it's awesome.
There's nothing negative about it. Like it doesn't portray any of these characters in a negative light.
No.
And I think that's a positive thing. Like, because a lot of the black exploitation films like Shaft and stuff, you know, there would be like these shady ass drug dealers and pimps and all that. All that's not in this. You know, pretty much everybody that's in this is, you know, solid.
Right, yeah, exactly. And the opening scene when he's meeting Dracula, when he's still a human, that's a great scene.
Yeah.
Like when Dracula's minions come out, they just all look weird as shit.
Yeah, they do.
And I mean, and just it's a very creepy. Like Dracula, for some reason, that scene starts crying blood. You know, it's a very that's probably what they probably shot that first because you can tell there was a lot of effort put into that opening scene.
Yeah.
It was either probably shot first or last.
Yeah.
You know? And very entertaining. And the sequel, if you've ever seen Blacula Scream, which has Pam Grier as a voodoo priestess, she's sort of his nemesis / love interest in the movie. It's very entertaining as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good movie. You should. Anybody that hasn't seen it should definitely see it, especially if they enjoy.
And it's like a PG. I mean, it's not. Your kids can watch it. I mean,
which is unfortunate.
The kids can watch it.
No, it's unfortunate that it's a PG. It would have been nice to show a couple.
Well, I think that I think we had talked. Maybe they're remaking this.
They're apparently going to remake it, because I guess.
And I promise you, it will be much more on the edge than this was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes over.
Yeah.
We definitely shall see.
Yeah.
But it's on Prime. It's on Shudder. It's very easy to find.
Well, it may not be anymore. It may have been for October, but now that we're in the November month, it may be gone. We may be. We
lost a lot of stuff, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, we lost a lot.
Sunday at midnight.
We probably lost any interest in horror movies in podcasts.
All 6 of our listeners are fucking like, fuck these guys.
I'll just skip this one.
Fucking assholes.
But actually this may still be relevant even though it's 3 weeks late. our other movie, Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
You
Otherwise known as White People Can't Shoot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
Well, but has it been out? Let me ask
of
you.
white people can't kill a fucking person.
Has it been out long enough to where we can just talk about it?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really doesn't need any introduction. If you saw the last one, you know that they set a trap for Michael Myers in a fiery basement of Laurie Strode's house.
Yes.
And then, of course, the firemen come and
Put the fire out.
let him out. And then it's like he goes to town.
Because God forbid that burning house wouldn't have already killed him at least 6
Look,
times over.
I heard a lot of people complain. It's not scary. If you fucking go into a modern Halloween fucking movie expecting to be scared, I don't know what you're even then you must not have seen any of the Halloween movies from the last 25 years because none of them are scary.
Yeah, right.
No, it's like a you know what you're getting.
Yeah, it's like I didn't go into it like, oh man, I better get under my blankie. Like this is gonna really be something. I better leave a light on. It's a fucking look. But all that being said, I am gonna say this about it, and what I did like about it, I appreciate them deviating, and instead of just recreating the same fucking shit that they've done with every one of these remakes, I appreciated what they tried to do.
Right.
You know, I like the whole, like, fuck this shit. The whole town's getting together. We're going to kill this son of a bitch. I thought, you know what? All right, I'm down with this. Now, in that, there were some mistakes made.
Tons.
Yeah.
That was my biggest problem with the movie.
But I like the idea of it, and that's about it.
I'll say this: if you were to go back and you get before it's released and you cut out the whole sequence with the other mental patient in the hospital,
Right.
the lynch mob scene, I guess you'd say, if you just cut that out, because it stops the movie.
I don't even know why it was there.
It goes on for fucking ever, and also they did that in I think 4. They did they did a very similar scene, you know. And the movie has a momentum going because and then it just like there's let's spend 15 minutes doing this with this friggin' mentally unstable hobo who jumps out of a window and just like I understand what they were trying to do. We've become just as bad as him, but that's like you said, Doug. It's Halloween. And also I've heard a lot of reviews people said there was too much murder. Like I don't understand that.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's like...
the only complaint you can make about a movie like this is not enough murder, right?
Right, exactly.
You can't go opposite and be like, those last two, they went overboard. Fuck off.
It's like somebody puts in Singing in the Rain, and they're just like, what's up with all these musical numbers? This is bullshit. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I've also read a lot of people said, this is the worst Halloween movie ever. In 2002, there was a movie released where it ends with Michael Myers kung fu fighting Busta Rhymes. This is not the worst Halloween movie ever. It's just not it's parts of it are very well done, parts of it aren't as well done. You know, it was an entertaining movie that I just would have changed a few things.
And I can see, like, on paper, being like, okay, let's take it next level. And Michael really is something special. He really, like, he can't be killed by these normal means. How can we explore this?
Yeah.
And
well, that's definitely true because he got his ass beat, and then he took a pitchfork to the spine, and then he took a knife to the back of the neck.
That's all intentional. But that's intentional.
I understand, but it still doesn't hold up for the rest of what they've done.
Well, but it kind of does, I think, a little bit. Having Laurie and the policeman, they're like talking about it. It's like they kind of come to that realization that it really doesn't matter what anybody else does to him. One of those two people are the only people that can kill him in some kind of a way. And like when they're in that hospital room, they kind of, I guess they start kind of laughing about it because they figured it out.
Right.
And then, it pans to Michael just getting up, and it doesn't matter what anybody does. Then yeah, go ahead, Lee.
The next time they capture him, don't fucking transfer him the day before Halloween. Like they've done every time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
fucking right. Like, that's what I'm
Leave the
saying.
fucking door shut.
This is...
Just,
Do it on November 1st. It's fine.
we're moving this bastard on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And the cops are at Michael Myers' house with the girls at the end. And just a block over, the mob, the whole entire Conover, North Carolina, just finished beating him up, and they're not over there? Like, what the fuck? This movie was fucking trash. It was trash. And listen, I appreciate it. I had a good time. I feel like you guys, but I just think I expected a lot more, man. Come
Look,
on.
you know how
This
negative
is
I am
fucking
on this
stupid
show.
shit.
Eric, I was trying to throw this fucking movie a bone. You know I fucking hated it.
It's fucking horrible.
Lee, you know I hated it. But I did my best to prop it up a little bit and give him some kind of something.
But listen, here's the problem with what you're saying. If it was exactly like you thought it would have been, you would have said it was formulaic,
Sure.
you hated it. And now they've changed things. You said they changed it from what they usually do, and you hate it. There's no winning.
You're right, but
It's never going to be as good as 1970.
wait a minute. Okay, you're right. I liked how they brought all the old people back.
Right.
Okay, I liked everything about it. The fucking Halloween 3 mask, endearing. The best part of the movie, bringing those back.
That was great, yeah.
I like the kills. The kills were fucking awesome, dude. Like, I mean,
That fluorescent light bulb kill was...
Yes, all that shit was great. It's Michael. Like, they made him human, but then they didn't make him human. It's like they humanized it. Like, I almost even believed that he could have gotten out of the fire.
Right.
But then I don't know. There was just that. There's an element there. There's a disconnect for me between the monster and the fucking human, and it happened in this movie because at the end, it's like they shot him, they pitchforked him. There's like 30 people beating his fucking ass, and he gets back up.
Like in the third one, are like Freddy Krueger and Jason gonna show up to like take him out?
I mean,
it's kind of where I'm like that wouldn't.
Yeah, it's
trying to think outside of the bite. Like, is that?
Jesus himself.
Is that where we're going with
fucking
this?
rapture is going to happen, and Michael Myers is going to be standing
They'll have
there.
to.
That's my problem. They humanized him in the first one, and then this time I don't know, man. Yeah, and it just didn't work for me. That's it.
I see what you're saying.
And you're right. You could take that whole hospital, all that political satire about mobbing and all that shit. Take that the fuck out.
That just ruined it. I understand, like, he was trying, like, there wasn't that much action in the 2018, and he was trying to go whole hog, and I actually appreciate that.
Yeah.
But just stopping the momentum of your movie with just to have this whole,
The first 40 minutes was pretty fucking well done, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, damn, I like this.
It's just as it gets going, as it keeps going, and
Yeah.
it's like, dude, he just keeps killing, and then he takes fucking this, and he takes that. And
so
then,
you're in the too much killing
no,
category?
I don't care about the killing. I'm talking about him. Like,
Yeah,
and then
I know.
as soon as he took the pitchfork
Yeah.
to the back, I'm like, oh, and they took that mask off. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And he starts walking, and then he gets beat up by the mob, and then he comes back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
And they shot him. I don't even know how many times I lost count.
Dude, she drove, like, I don't give a fuck who you are. She drove a goddamn butcher knife in the spine, behind your fucking head, into your neck.
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't give a fuck who you are. You don't live through that. You don't
also,
live through it. You don't get up and take that fucking knife out and start beating people's asses.
There was like 3 or 4 people there with guns, and they should have just never stopped shooting.
Right. And where are the fucking cops?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing's just, yeah. Whatever.
Okay.
But there you go. It's on Peacock. Go take a look at that piece
Or
of shit.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or don't.
It's already made over $100 million. So.
Yeah, they don't need your...
No, yeah, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride don't give a fuck whether you see it or not.
No, they don't give a shit.
And the third one's already in the can, so it doesn't matter. They're going to show. It's already done. It doesn't cost any more money. It's already done.
Okay.
So there you go. All right, well, we've been gone for a month. Don't tell me all the movies you've watched. Just give me a couple.
Well, originally I tried to do some that were made around the time of Blacula, like early 70s, and I watched like The Creeping Flesh, and I watched something fucking called The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism from 67.
Yes!
No, it was fucking terrible. But we'll get into some more of the stuff I've watched more recently. Squid Game.
That's not on my list yet.
Lee, have you...
I did not watch it.
Okay, well, it's a cool idea that I think has been gone over several times with like the Hunger Games kind of, and this is definitely kind of similar, yet different. It has a definite, like a very unique look and feel to it. And I remember like around, wasn't it like this time last year we were talking about how Netflix had, they were pledging like $500 million to get Korean content.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I just assume that this is part of that investment.
Right.
And I would, look, there's a lot of it that I did not like, but I would still tell either one of you guys, and really anybody who hadn't seen it, give it a day in court and make a decision for yourself. You'll know after the first couple episodes whether or not you're going to want to continue it. I think it ended up being like 7 or 8 episodes, and it is what it is. Lee, I watched The Green Knight.
Okay.
I remember you went to see it at the theater, and
I did.
I was so fucking excited to watch this.
Right.
I think too excited. I got too pumped up.
I got
It
you.
was fucking long, dude.
It was the longest nothing fucking happening
It was
shit.
fucking long.
It looks fucking great. I love the look of it. You can tell that they put a lot of time and thought into how they wanted all these scenes to look and feel.
Yeah.
But too much of it was just Dev Patel just sitting there looking around at stuff or walking. I was
very long take.
I was thinking of Lee's hatred of the fucking Lord of the Rings movies, because if you think that they do a lot of walking in those bastards, I don't know if I've ever seen one movie where a dude walked quite as much as The Green Knight.
Right.
I mean, it is a fucking hype, dude. And ultimately, the final act of it did not hold up to the original story to me. And I know it's got different variations, whatever.
Oh,
but it just wasn't. Maybe I needed to be on the same mushrooms that Dev Patel was on.
Maybe.
In order to have enjoyed it as much as I thought that I would. Because a lot of it I really did like. A lot of the production I liked. The look of it I liked. But just the actual... It just...
It drug on. He walked forever.
It was a bastard to get through, man.
Jody
lasted... She didn't even make it 20 minutes. And she was like, I can't watch this.
We should...
20's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
We should put a poll on Facebook. Who walked more? Frodo or fucking this dude?
It's probably going to be Garwin or Gawain or...
And it's set up so well, too. Like, the opening, you're just like, okay, cool. And then you're like, okay, but, well, you can hurry up and get there. Can you just hurry up and get there?
Can we talk about Dune now?
What? Dune, yes.
Because that was the best thing that I saw while we've been on hiatus, and it's not even close. It's one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite new age sci-fi things that I've seen that I can remember. I can't remember watching something like this and being like having that feeling like I don't know how to explain it. Like
it's good. It's exceptional.
It's pretty fucking on, dude.
Yeah. Have you seen it yet, Lee?
I started it, but I started it just to get a sense of. I watched the first few minutes, but I hadn't finished it yet.
River and I both watched it, and River didn't even want to see it. That's what he's just like,
Yeah.
Normally he's pretty amped about movies like Halloween Kills. He's like,
oh yeah, sure.
We had to watch that at 1 o'clock in the morning when I got home from my game because he was gonna be watching it. This one was kind of I didn't have anything going on Saturday, and I'm like, well, let's get it in. You want to get it in? He's like, yeah, I guess. Within 10 minutes, his phone was down and he was peeled. It was great. I thought it was fantastic.
It's better than I thought it could be.
I'm not real sure, though, why they did not set up the second one and why we're going to have to wait 2 years to get the second one.
I think that...
They had to wait and see?
I don't even think it's a wait and see. I think Villanueva took this massive book that has a shitload of content in it and was like, I'm going to tell this. I'm going to give them a taste. Because how could you have this director and this vision of this whole thing that you've been hyping up it feels like for a decade. They're making Dune, And either that or it's all been planned all along, but it felt more like to me that Villanueva just had a portion of the story that he felt like telling, and he did it brilliantly. Yeah. And here's the thing, if that's all that it is, because Lee doesn't know, he doesn't understand what we're really talking about. If this is all that it ever is, I'm fucking cool with it. That's how fucking good it was. I don't need a whole arc and all this and like the story. You
don't need a trilogy and fucking
I don't need
bullshit.
Finality and storytelling like this that looks like this, because it's like a Star Wars story, like a Mandalorian episode. It's like, I don't need every single detail. I just need what you want to tell me in this middle part about this kid going from a kid to growing up, because that's what happens. And that's it.
I read an interview with Villanueva where he said, I guess during pre-production they had talked about shooting two of them back to back, and as they got through pre-production, he realized that would be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
He's like, he said it would have ruined everything.
Dude, it looks and feels like when you watch David Lynch's version of Dune, about 6 minutes in, you don't know what the fuck is going on, man. It's so fucking off the... Like, the brilliance of this is the simplicity of how he tells this story. It looks fucking great. Like, there's never a part in this where I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, kind of like I'm not trying to compare the two, but like when you watch fucking Star Wars, it's like, what's going on. You don't know how, when it starts, you don't really know kind of what's happened before that. You don't really know where it's going after, but what you get in the middle is pretty fucking perfect. And that's how this made me feel, but better. Yeah. Like, I mean, as a 46-year-old man, I was like, we'll see. I could have watched it again. It's fucking 2.5 hours long. I could have watched it right after it. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah. It is important when you make a movie, like really any type of movie that doesn't take place in, quote unquote reality, right, to contextualize the world. Mm-hmm. If you don't do that, then it's just, it all falls apart. Oh, like you're talking about the David Lynch dude. There are parts of David Lynch's movie that look amazing.
Sure.
But then there's parts that are just nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the best thing I've seen in a long time. That's how much I liked it. And I do have a late Halloween thing for you, Garrett, that's on Netflix, because I know of your affinity for...
I saw it.
For vampires?
Yeah.
Oh.
Night Teeth?
No, it's called Midnight Mass.
Oh, shit. All right.
It is a 7-episode miniseries that is it has a very interesting take. I'll kind of give you a little rundown. It's like an elderly priest with dementia goes on this pilgrimage to Jerusalem and gets lost out in the desert in the middle of this sandstorm. And when this shit happens, he kind of stumbles upon this cave, and anyway, it's got a fucking vampire in it, okay? But in his eyes, because he's fucking batshit at this point, he thinks it's an angel. So this movie, or this show, balances the kind of, I guess, the what's the right word, like the background of vampires and all, with things that are said and talked about in the Bible, and interweaves them. the acting in it is fucking great, dude. The dialogue is great. It's got a really cool feel. I don't love everything about it because I'm not a vampire guy so much, like, as I know that you are. But, dude, it's 7 episodes. I finished the 5th episode last night, and I was like, damn. Like, it's something. I think you might appreciate
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, there's been we've talked about Hereditary and various things. Is the term comes out elevated horror. Right. It's better than a regular horror movie because it's like a horror drama. And you have all these filmmakers who are talked about, and they never, when people have these conversations, they never talk about Mike Flanagan, the director of Midnight Mass. Yeah. And like his films, Hush, the slasher movie he made, Hush, Oculus, the ghost film he made. He is someone I would describe as an elevated horror director but he's unlike some of these other filmmakers. He's never not making a horror movie or a horror TV show.
Yeah.
You never get the sense that he's better than it. But he's also doing things with it that other people don't do, as far as it being dialogue driven and, the genre stuff's there, but it's not, it's all, he's never condescending it, but he's also not just giving you jump scares and shit. Like I would say he is an elevated horror filmmaker.
Yeah, it's not about jump scares. That's not what this is. It's a much deeper thing. I believe it's based off of just like every fucking thing else these days. I'm pretty sure Stephen King at some point came up with this fucking vision, whatever this is. But Flanagan, he's put a really unique touch on this. It's very, very good what I've seen of it so far.
I believe it was based on a book Flanagan started writing but never finished.
Oh, really? Okay. I saw something Stephen King, so I could be wrong.
He's a big fan of, but I mean, even if you can't deny the Salem's Lot influence on it. I mean, that's
Have you? So you saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, did you finish it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. I got 2 more episodes. I'm gonna wrap it up tonight, hopefully.
Okay.
Cool deal.
Well, what'd you see, Lee?
Okay, going back a month, I saw
everything.
I saw in the theater. I saw Cop Shop with Gerald Butler and Frank.
Okay. How was that?
Dude, I just loved seeing a rated R action movie in the theater.
Nice.
It really, in the best possible way, it feels like a 90s action movie. It's, and Frank, what's the guy's name? Grillo.
Grillo. I was thinking Grillo. Rizzo. I knew that wasn't right. Yeah.
He's a con artist who has screwed some guys over in Vegas, and he stole some money from the wrong people. And Gerald Butler's this hitman who's coming to get him. And so Frank Grillo he T-bones a cop car just to get arrested. And basically, he punches a cop. He goes up to a cop and says, "You got to arrest me." And they say, like, "Sir, please calm down." So he just hauls up and decks this female police officer. It's like, "You got to arrest me." So they arrest him. And then Gerald Butler, who's this hitman, he sees him get arrested. So he just drives off, and he sees this other police car like a mile away. He just T-bones it and just, he acts like a drunk driver. So he's thrown in the cell next to Frank Grillo. And it's very similar to John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13, as it's a siege movie in a police station.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, it's the lady. I believe it's her first film role. Alexis Louder, who plays the cop, she's great in it. And I've actually got a quote here from Bonnie after we walked out of the theater. I asked her what did she think, because she took it to me to see it for my birthday, and I was like, I didn't know she would like it. And her quote was, "I like the female cop. She was better than any of those Marvel bitches." And that's pretty much how it is. I mean, it's just it's not the best thing in the world. It's a very entertaining movie, and it's like just to see an R-rated shoot 'em up in the theater with lots of swearing and blood squibs. I couldn't have enjoyed it anymore.
Nice. Hell yes.
And other than that, I watched a movie I've not seen since I was a kid, Hooper with Burt Reynolds, which, people talk a lot about Adam Sandler, how he just makes movies with his friends. This was the first time that was done. Burt Reynolds is playing a stuntman, and just everybody he knows is in this movie. It's just a bunch of silly nonsense. This is right after Smokey and the Bandit when he was just the biggest star in the world.
Yeah.
And if Terry Bradshaw shows up in it for 5 minutes, like every 5 minutes there's another person he meets, And it's kind of weird. We were talking about the whole Rust situation. Like stunt safety is a big part of this movie. And this movie was made 1978 or 9, and like I said, it's silly nonsense, but it's a very enjoyable movie. Especially as a movie about filmmaking,
Cool.
I rented on Redbox Don't Breathe 2 the other night. The sequel to, I think the movie originally came out in 2017. The movie about the guys who break into the blind guy's house and he turns out to be like an ex-Navy SEAL. The second one is, the only thing that's odd about it is, he's basically a rapist in the first movie. And he's 100% the protagonist of the second movie. But they address that at the end, with him impregnating that girl who, I think the girl had like killed his daughter in a drunk driving accident in the first one, and he kidnapped her and impregnated her so she could basically give him a replacement daughter. The second one is very well done. Like the action is, very well done, but I don't think it's quite as good as the first one. But that was a decent. I didn't want my buck 85 back from Redbox in it. But the last movie I watched is something I've not seen since the 90s. And I think, Doug, you and I may have talked about this. But I'm not sure if you've mentioned this before. Fear of a Black Hat.
Oh, yeah.
I've not seen this since the 90s, and it's...
I don't remember what we were talking about where we did bring it up and talked about it.
Right.
I don't remember, but yes, I'm quite familiar with it.
Listen, is it a hip-hop remake of This Is Spinal Tap? It absolutely is. Mm-hmm. Almost beat for beat, everything happens the same. But there are some jokes in it, talking about the Dave Chappelle said, there are some jokes in it that would 1,000% not fly today. But it was so funny.
Good. Good to know it's still holding its...
Yeah, my favorite joke in it is when they're being interviewed, and the female reporter, she goes, they always say you got to watch out for the quiet ones. And one of the rappers goes, yeah, if you noticed, I ain't said shit in a couple minutes. And, very funny movie. But that's all I watched. What about you, Garrett?
Well, all right. I'll start with, I watched a whole bunch of stuff. I've actually got a catalog.
I see you've got quite a bit of notes
but
here.
I'm going to wait for the next one for some. I do want to touch on, we did go to the theater and watch Venom. There will be carnage.
You just like pissing fucking money away on shit. You can buy me some stuff if you'd like and save yourself that $100 fucking you probably spent.
No, the golden ticket, man.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we drive to Lenore. Yes, we do spend the money on gas, but when you're taking 7 kids to the movies,
you're right.
And we get free drinks and popcorn. So all it is a drive to Lenore.
There you go.
So for $20, I get the theater and the reclining seats. That's right, at the golden ticket in Lenore. But yes, Venom. Yes, don't waste your money.
I'm not gonna waste my fucking eyes on it, dude. Much less my fucking money or my time.
It's fun. It's fun. I mean, being able to watch Michelle Williams for an hour and a half is fantastic. Right. But it really is. It's fun, but it's a nothing burger. It really,
right.
It's just
I
nothing.
did see some people who were upset that it wasn't over 2 hours because every movie in the last 10 years has been 2.5 hours.
Right.
And, Andy Serkis had to come out and defend the fact that it was 90 minutes. I was like, it's a movie about 2 space monsters.
Yeah. What do you want?
How long should it be? It should probably be about 75 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But, I thought that was odd.
The other movie I saw is a great movie by a young filmmaker, Jordan Downey. It's on Shudder. It's called The Headhunter. It's an hour and 12 minutes.
Oh, the Viking movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where this, it's like this guy lives out in the middle of nowhere, and a monster kills his daughter in the first 2 minutes of the movie, and he spends the rest of his life kind of revenging and killing these big monsters, and he's got this big trophies. There's very little dialogue. It was fantastic. I had to look this guy up, and he's like my age, so of course I'm player hating, but he's good. This movie's very good. It's very good. You should check it out.
I thought you said it was a young director.
Well,
hey,
oh, you got me. But yes, it's on Shudder. It's fantastic. It garnered many awards. Special effects. It's from Portuguese. It's from Portugal. And it's really good.
Cool.
It's very good. And then the last movie, and I don't know if you guys just didn't watch this, but this was a big thing for me. I waited a long time for it. Showed up at the office. I set my alarm for 5 o'clock to get to the office at 5:30 so I could watch this movie before I had to start work. The Many Saints of Newark. Did anybody ever see it? Did you get to it?
No. Here's the thing. I don't have a fucking Sopranos hard on like you fucking presently do with your fucking Imperioli book and podcast in tow. The fact is, that show died for me when it ended. I have not thought... The only other time I ever think about it is if I see Gandolfini in something. And I'm like, damn, I miss him. That's it.
All right.
But, I mean, tell me it was worth its weight in everything. I mean,
yes, it was. I watched it. I actually watched it back to back. The Sopranos, it's not. And even some of the characters, like Sill's like caricature and Junior's, they're I don't know. It seems forced, but the story was great. I enjoyed it as its own little thing. It was a very good, it's a very good movie, and you can tell David Chase wrote it. That's all that matters.
Our friend, you just remind me. Our friend Stephen Henley sent me a text about a week ago, and he said, "Have you seen the Saints of Newark yet?" And I said, "No." He said, "Don't. It's a fucking piece of shit." But he hates everything, so I was like, it doesn't really necessarily mean
it's not The Sopranos. It's a nothing burger. But for me, being a Sopranos fan, I enjoyed it all right.
If you were like me, I enjoyed The Sopranos, but I have not revisited it since it ended. And I don't listen to podcasts about the show or anything like that. Could I still just go into it and watch it and enjoy it, or is it like?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. I mean, I still may watch. I just didn't get to it. And I started watching fucking Squid Game. That took up about 12 hours, and then this goddamn Midnight Mass.
That's the problem.
You get wrapped up in these little mini series, man, and it fucks everything.
Well,
up.
that's been the problem with me is I've been so busy that I can't really watch anything I haven't seen because it'll distract me.
But I know how much you love Chase, so I'm glad that
I'm constantly rewatching Banshee and Warrior and Sopranos, Curb Your Enthusiasm, fucking shit I've already seen because it's the only thing that doesn't distract me.
Speaking of Curb, it just started up again.
Yeah.
I fucking love it, so.
Yeah, it's good. The first one was great, the Hoarder.
Oh, God.
The living funeral.
It's
Al Brooks. It's fucking great.
I mean, dude, I love Al Brooks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, well, that's it. We could probably go on for another hour since we've been in hiatus for a month. But that is it. We squeaked in one horror movie podcast in the month of October. Woohoo!
Barely,
we made it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's November, but
Yeah, we got it in. By the time I get this cut, which will be, tomorrow or the next day, it'll be first week in November, we'll be putting out Halloween Kills, and everybody will be like, who the fuck are these guys? Yeah. These guys are behind. Anyway, well...
It's a jump scare of a podcast. You don't see it coming.
You don't see it coming. That's right. Well, until next week, maybe, or next month.
And what the fuck are we... Just don't even try and plan anything. I'm
starting to stabilize, so we can.
It emotionally, physically?
Oh, never emotionally.
What does that mean? I'm beginning to. Is your transition like? I don't understand.
I'm making my transition. I'm boycotting Dave Chappelle.
All right. Okay.
That's it. We will let you know.
We'll get back with something.
When the next podcast comes out, just look at the little cover and you'll know what movie we're doing.
Or you won't.
Or you won't.